This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview.
Well, the COO of ECR Minerals, Mike Whitlow, is joining us today. Mike, thank you very much for your time. How have you been? How's the summer been?
Yeah, very good. Thanks, Mark. Everything's been fantastic.
Good. Been busy at ECR, have we? Of course, I see this morning the news out about a maiden diamond drilling program at Tambo. That's, of course, the gold project in Victoria. So have you been spending the summer months planning this program?
Look, we historically took a look at Tambo quite a while ago under previous management. Some work was conducted. For whatever reason, things didn't advance. It was mainly due to a personnel change and a restructuring of the business. And we felt earlier in the year that it was worthy of revisiting the particular project. And Adam and his team went out there and did some initial sort of LiDAR mapping and sampling rock chips and soils. And we found that there was, some incredible results came out of that. But we saw some sort of continuity in the soil sampling as well. So we had this broader, wider mineralization and these really sort of defined and high definition areas of extreme interest. So that in itself was enough for us to want to get back out there and drill. And we felt, sort of diamond drilling gives you the best look subsurface that we can possibly ask for in this industry. So, of course, we've been conducting some civil works. They're all but completed, and the guys will be on site shortly, and we'll kick things off.
Okay, and this is the project where you had those results. I think there was a 52.2 grams per ton. Yeah, the big one, and then there was, I think, quite a few samples above 5 grams per ton.
That's correct. Yeah, I think the chips were extremely encouraging. I think the amount of gold that we were seeing in the soils was enough for us to say, there's potentially something really quite exciting here. It'd be remiss of us to not channel some of our energy into trying to unlock the value there.
Indeed. And I mean, can you sort of elaborate on how you've planned it, how you've identified your targets, and how you sort of planned and worked with the drilling contractor to get the best bang for your buck here?
Yeah, I mean, look, for us, it's about bringing people in who are experienced to work alongside our team, and we believe we've managed to do that with the approved drilling contractor. Landowner relationships are incredibly important, Mark, and we've managed to come to a very, very sort of reasonable agreement with the landowner there. They've pretty much given us the green light, on getting into the project up at Tambo around the Duke of Cornwall asset, and there's been a fair bit of work that Adam and his team have conducted in order to vector in on the best potential targets. We'll go out there and we'll do our initial drilling campaign and see what those results show us. We're very confident. We're confident in what we're seeing, and we're very confident in this particular project. Okay,
so I mean, what would sort of the successful outcome look like here from your point of view?
Yeah, big gold discovery. I mean, that's what all of these companies are trying to do, whether they're drilling for oil, drilling for gold, whatever the objective is. When you go subsurface, you're looking for discovery, looking to be able to build out, a resource, and you're going to look for an opportunity to be able to monetize that in the most significant way, right? And that comes from getting that data and being able to process it and decide which is the best way forward for the business. But this is diamond drilling, and this is the creme de la creme of drilling in this industry, and we think that this particular asset warrants it, and we look forward to getting on with the program.
So in terms of timelines, then what are we talking here? When do you want to get the drill spinning? How long is it scheduled to be going on for?
We want to get the drill spinning yesterday, and we'd like it to be finished tomorrow. But this is drilling, and we've all, worked at the hands of, the weather, Mother Nature, third-party service providers that we work with. We can't get it, we're not going to get it right to the exact T, but we anticipate all of the civil works actually completed. Those guys will be finishing up, ready to welcome the guys onto site shortly, and we'll kick things off. We'll, of course, we'll give some guidance as things are cracking on, and we'll be out there, putting as much media out as we possibly can. We'll be as transparent as we can with what we're doing, but ultimately the focus is on what's going on down here. And like I said, we're super excited. We're thrilled to be getting out there and drilling yet again. And we think that's what these companies need. Investors need a reason to part with the cash. Shareholders need a reason to stay hopeful and invested. And we think that the summer, the work program that we embarked on has been incredibly encouraging. We've got a bunch of results left to come from Lulworth. The guys are still out in the field there. We've got a bunch of different things going on within the business that we're quite excited about. And we've been having some sort of left field discussions regarding the potential for a helium transaction, or even do something with the antimony. We've sought approval to get back in the field there as well with the antimony. It seems to have created a little bit of confusion. And Mark, I don't want to spend too much time beating around the bush on this subject. We came out and said to the market, we think there's an opportunity in helium. The market kind of shrugged it off. We won't be doing any sort of crazy deals. We won't be ironing out existing shareholders, of which I am one, in order to do just for the sake of doing a deal. We had a view that we were outlining and penciling transactions that could be incredibly beneficial, and on terms that were incredibly beneficial to shareholders, and for whatever reason the market shrugged it off. So we'll take it for what it is, and we'll accept that decision. There's a lot of interesting things going on, but unfortunately regulation means that there's only certain things that we can talk about at certain points in the calendar, and unfortunately that's about as much as I can say on the subject. But we're thrilled to be in the field down at Tambo, and we're super excited about what those results could look like. And the gold market is hot.
The gold market is hot. I want to finish off on that, but before I do, are you planning to go down yourself to site?
Possibly. We'll see how things unfold. I mean, we've got cost constraints here within the business, which we've talked about. We don't think it's appropriate to be flying first class across to the side of the world to stand and survey a little bit of ground when we've got a technical team that are more than capable, and we've worked with historically, on many occasions, and we've got absolute confidence in. So there'll be a time and a place for that, and there's been some recent discussions that could well support an on-site visit actually in the coming weeks. But I don't think it's necessary for directors of companies like myself to be flying in and out of Australia and charging the company a huge amount of cash to do so. Nick went out there cattle class. If I was to be out there in the coming weeks, I'll be following his suit, and I think that's where we should be on a business our size with the budget that we've got.
Okay, good. Well, you did mention, of course, we can await those drill results that are due. The news that the drill is in fact turning fairly soon. But you did mention, of course, gold is very hot. Yeah. People will know that it's consistently hitting all-time highs. And I came across this just this week actually. I think it's from Bloomberg, and it's really talking about the gold miners versus the price of gold. And you can sort of see how it's tracked quite well, and you can see the sort of trend line there. And of course, gold breaking up, but the miners not following. And I'm seeing a bit more chat out there now about when these miners are going to, perhaps the gold explorers or juniors are going to catch up. We know it's a bit tough out there. We see a lot of sort of heavily discounted placings, etc. But I mean, I just want to get your opinion, really, your opinion in your capacity as COO of ECR Minerals, but also your opinion in your many years of being a private investor, investing in these junior companies, and perhaps seeing a cycle or two yourself. So what are your thoughts on where, when the gold miners might catch up to that gold price movement?
Yeah, I mean, look, gold companies, the best ones will respond first, and the worst ones will follow. What we find in these types of moves, whether it be gold or any other sort of commodity, even the bad ones get pulled up, with the swell of excitement, and it's generally those that are first to move get the biggest of moves, and generally where the most confidence lies. There will always be an argument of, if the company's not producing gold, then why would it respond? once you're invested in gold and gold producers, where does your investment go? Does it stop at that point, or then just start to look further down the food chain and speculate? Whether people like it or not, that's how markets work. And I've kind of put in a slightly different hat on here, where we're just talking markets and what works. But for me, I think we're going to see a natural correction to the price of some of these companies. The small cap markets have been through a tormenting 2 or 3 years, and it can't last forever. I think when the general consensus, when 90 to 95% of people are telling you the game's up, markets are over, they're never coming back, they won't rebound, and you start to hear that type of narrative, and I've heard it, I mean, that's the time to be parting with your cash, whether that be with us or not. And again, under regulation, I'm not permitted to be sort of sweet talking and encouraging people into buying shares in the company. But all I would say is, I want, as an investor, to back companies where directors have got skin in the game, where they're prepared to put the nose on the chopping block, for want of a better word. And I think it's incredibly important that you can see that there's transparency and visibility. And as I say, people say, you talk too much. I got an email the other day off a guy, and he said, you spend too much time talking about the company. But if I've got 20 or 30 emails to answer, and I try and get to every single investor because I know what it means. We're not using one of these PR companies as an intermediate between the investor and ourselves. We're coming out now and saying, you want to speak to us, we're going to be available. If you've got any questions, you've got any concerns, we're going to make ourselves available. You want to send me an email, I'm going to get to answering that email at some point, and I'll give you a response. And in the meantime, we'll put out media, and we'll let you know that if you're a part of this company, you're going to get a look into the business in as best a way as you possibly can. And that's an obligation that we've got as a public company to shareholders and investors. So that's all we can do. I think there's going to be a big correction in the markets. This route can't last forever. We're well sort of insulated, thankfully, moving forward. And I'm sure there'll be happy clapping times again. And in the meantime, we'll just keep on doing what we do best. And for those investors and noisemakers and narrative content creators who say nobody's interested in results, no one cares about sampling, the scientific data is key to everything. Whether you're looking to bring in a partner, debt funding, bank finance, whatever it might be, RBLs, this is what's important. And at the moment, we're a little bit like the best window cleaner in town on a rainy day, or an ice cream man on a cold sort of sunny morning. He's not selling much at the moment, but as soon as that cloud and weather breaks, we'll be out there, and the kids will be kicking and screaming, wanting to eat ice cream as much as we will. Want to keep on serving up decent results with our gold at Tambo.
Well, you might be having ice creams in Australia, of course, going into the summer now, as the UK and the US goes into the winter. Just a final question that's come to mind, Mike. If you were to put yourself back in your shoes as Doc Holliday before you took your public role here, I mean, what would you be? Would you be doing what you're doing now? Going back, thinking about the questions you used to ask directors, the companies you used to look at, and when you used to decide how to depart with your money, would you be doing exactly what you're doing right now and the actions that you're taking?
I think, we're going to be judged. I'm going to be judged on decisions that I make, right? And my job is to make sure that I'm being true to myself. Comes at a cost. You can have all the relationships in the world and the hopes, dreams and aspirations. But when you get into a market like this, it's a dog-eat-dog business. It's every man for himself. And it's, you realize that relationships and friendships become a little bit sort of different, challenging or strained during these kind of markets. So for me, I try to put the emotions of the market aside, just stay professional, keep your head down, get your ass in the air and work, squirrel away, get your nose to the coal face and just do your job. And that's all I can do to stay true to myself as somebody who's representing an investor base, and that's what we're doing here at ECR. Would I change some of the questions? Of course. I mean, the questions that I would ask when I was on the outside and not on the inside are totally different. I now understand and have some sympathy for the nature and the questions that I will have presented, and perhaps some of the responses that I received and maybe at the time didn't quite like. And I'm sure there's people watching, this interview going, ask for more, Mark, or Mike, we want to know the answers to. And this is the difficulty of having a full sort of rounded experience of how this business works and the market is something that I've been fortunate enough to spend the last year doing in my current role, but more so the piece of work that I did in 2023 with a notorious individual and a very, very wealthy client. And it gave me a real look under the bonnet at how the wider markets work too. So I think, if nothing more, this has been a fantastic experience to date. And it's one that, we completely feel that we'll finish on a high note. Valuations of some of these companies are incredibly poor at the minute. That's where the opportunity lies. When you're seeing these markets, and I'll reiterate what I've already said, when you see these markets, and as challenging as they are, that's where the opportunities are. And that's not specific to us. There's plenty of other companies in the same situation too.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Mike. I'm sure there'll be plenty of more questions to ask as you get those drills turning. Of course, anyone is welcome to message me. And I'm sure you're getting lots of emails, as you said, to your inbox as well, Mike. Those questions coming to you. But thank you very much for your time.
We'll keep making ourselves available, Mark, to engage with the investment community. And we'll look forward to speaking to you again in the coming sort of, I would say probably week or weeks, depending on what develops next.
Thank you, Mike.
See you later.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.